everybody, Erica Serwin here from Pink Buckaroo Designs. Today I'm going to show you how to make this gorgeous card using two different stamp sets from the 2019 Occasions Stampin' Up! Occasions catalog. You can see this beautiful little cluster here. I've also created a background, a Crackle Paint background with some embossing powder. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The first set I want to show you is the Forever Lovely stamp set and the coordinating framelits. You might think on first glance that it's a Valentine set. It's on page 5, and it is not just a Valentine set. Sure, it has one Valentine set sentiment, but it also can make lots of cards, as you see here, that are not Valentine's Day. The second set is the Crackle Paint stamp, which is on page 44. Right down here, you might miss it. It's kind of hard to see, but it's down here on page 44. All right, well, let's get started. We're going to first do our Crackle Paint background. We're going to do that, and we're going to use the Stamparatus to do that because using the Stamparatus really helps on those big background stamps. Now, I'm going to just use one plate, and I've cut a piece of gray granite cardstock that is much bigger than what I need. The background stamps are bigger than a card front, which is great because you get more area, but we need to just use the size of a card front. So we're going to cut it down. I like to just start with a big piece. That way I can use my magnet, I can stick it on there and it holds on, and then we'll just cut it down when we're done. So lay it there, pick it up with a plate like that. Make sure you're stamping in the right area, and let's get it done. First though, because we're going to emboss this, we need to hit it up with the embossing buddy. The embossing buddy helps reduce static on your cardstock, which also then helps create a good surface for your powder. The powder's not going to stick where you don't want it. It's going to only stick to those places where the Versamark ink has touched your cardstock. So that's the embossing buddy. Just a little bag of, I don't know, it looks kind of like baby powder. All right, Versamark is a clear ink. It's used for embossing, for heat embossing. And you want to generously ink up your Crackle Paint background stamp. Make sure you've got all those surfaces covered. And then you just come over here and you press it down. Now, no just wimpy pushes, guys. You got to stand up, get off your chair, and push down with the palm of your hand and make sure you're getting it all covered. That background stamp has a lot of surface to cover. All right, now you can't really see it, can you? Maybe if oh, there, now you can see it. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, so let's move the Stamparatus out of the way, and we're going to use white embossing powder. And I have my white embossing powder in this little container, so I can just sprinkle it on all over. I have some stray paper fibers in here, but don't worry. They will fall off. No matter what I do, it seems my embossing powder always gets stray paper fiber. All right, let's see. Does it look good? Did we get all the spots? You can kind of see where you need to apply a little bit more. So just add a little bit as you go. And all right, I think we're good to go. Now I'm going to set this over here so that we don't mess it up with the heat tool and blow embossing powder all over the place. This is the heat tool that you need to set your embossing powder. Now, because we have such a giant surface, it is going to take quite a while, and by quite a while I mean a couple of minutes. But I am going to speed up the video. As soon as you can see it start to set, I'll speed that video up so you can see that difference right there. That way you don't have to sit and watch me heat the whole thing. You can really see when it starts to turn. All right, when you are certain you have all your powder embossed, see how it turns to a shiny, then you are done. It took me maybe a minute and a half to get all that done. Now we're going to cut it down. I'm going to use my trimmer. Let's see if I can turn it to the right direction. Got some scraps in here. Now we're going to cut it down. Let me look at my notes. 2, 4. No, that's not right. Let's see. We want 4 and 5 1/4. Yes, that is right. All right, so I'm just going to come over here, use my trimmer, and cut it first to 4 inches. And then I can cut off the top part and get it to 5 1/4. There we go. So you can see it's just a tiny bit bigger, not too much bigger than a card front. Got powder sticking to the table. All right, so let's go ahead and layer that up, and then we're going to do some stamping with our Forever Lovely set. All right, I have this layered onto a piece of soft seafoam cardstock that is just a tiny bit bigger. So a tiny bit bigger would be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I'm going to use gray granite for the card base. Whoops. And stick that right down there. All right, so we're going to set that aside now that we've got that done, and let's do our flowers. Now I am using this flower right here, and I'm going to stamp it 3 times. Whoops, I already have it out. I'm going to stamp it in powder pink once and twice in Blushing Bride. Well, look at how light my powder pink stamp pad is. Let's try again. There we go, that's better. Looks like I need to re-ink. All right, now I should clean that stamp, but I don't know where my disappeared. Okay, well, we're just gonna go for it. I have a Stampin' Chamois that I leave here, and suddenly it's gone. All right, so 2 in Blushing Bride, 1 in powder pink. Now we're gonna bring over the Big Shot. Let's close our ink pads so we have no disasters. We don't want our card pieces or our card itself falling into the ink. All right, so let's set this up here, and we're gonna have to run this through 3 times with this framelit right here. And I'm gonna start down here, and you kind of have to turn the framelit until you find exactly how it matches up, which looks like that. And while we run this one through, we're also going to cut a couple of other pieces. We're going to cut this guy. He's going to be in both soft seafoam and pear pizzazz, but we only have one of him, so we're going to cut one of him there, and we're going to cut this guy here, and we're going to put these right here, soft seafoam and pear pizzazz. All right? Okay, let's run it through. We're going to have lots of little pieces to make a little cluster of beautiful flowers there. Did I cut out the really light one? I did. All right, well, we'll go with it. We'll stick with the really, really light one. All right, now we're going to repeat again with the 2 Blushing Bride. Uh-oh. When your framelit jumps like that, you guys, it's because the magnets in your platform have flipped inside. That's what I've been told. And it usually only happens to your small framelets. So what I do is I let the magnet flip to where it wants to flip, and then I move the cardstock to match it, okay? You can't fight a magnet on its wherever it's determined to go. But you can move your paper. All right, so now we're gonna flip those, switch them around, and cut them. So we'll have each of those little green pieces in both colors. All right, so we'll put that one down there, get these out. Be very careful with your framelits because they're easy to lose. Ask me how I know. Wah, wah. I've lost many a small framelit, so I really try to put them back in their place as soon as I cut. They get mixed up in your paper and then get thrown away. Sometimes they'll stay stuck to your paper like this, and then you might throw that paper away. So be very careful with your tiny framelits. You don't want to throw away any of those tiny framelits. All right, let's see. Now, here's a trick. Sometimes if you throw your framelit down when you're not making a video, it'll pop out. This guy is being stubborn, so that's when we're going to bring out the die tool, the die brush. But all the others came out nicely. We do have a tiny little doodads in here. Well, they don't want to come out at all. Well, you know what? We're going to leave them. I kind of like it. And these 2 guys, Their little doodads need to come out. All right, let's see. We've got all these pieces here. So let's emboss, but we also need our sentiment. So I said emboss, didn't I? We need to layer them up. We are going to emboss one more thing in just a minute. It's going to surprise you, I think. Now I'm going to stamp the I'd love you until the day after forever right here on the bottom of this piece of Whisper White. And then I'm going to grab my trimmer again. Nothing fancy. I'm just going to cut it to the height of the word. So right here I can see just when my gutter gets right above that word, I'm going to cut it so that it's, you know, just fitting that sentiment just right. And then I'm going to take my scissors and cut that at an angle. We're going to leave that like that. All right, now we're ready to layer. I'm going to start first with one of my dark flowers, and I'm going to put it right here with just regular adhesive. Then I'm going to get my dimensionals, and I'm going to put the light flower layering up here like this, and the dark flower layering right there. All right, now let's see. We're going to stick this in here. Do we need to trim? We do. So I'm going to trim it at an angle. I find sometimes they go in better if you do it at an angle. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. All right, so just put a little bit of adhesive and slide it there. See how nicely that the flower goes around like that? And then I'm going to grab my glue dots, and I'm just going to start sticking. I think I'm going to start with the bigger ones. I'm just going to start sticking these little guys behind and below, coming out. Sometimes you may need to trim off a stem to get it to go where you want it. This is the fun part. It's like making a flower arrangement. Where should I stick all these sprigs? This one can go up here, and I think we'll do another little pear pizzazz guy right here, but he may need, let's see, no, we can get him stuck there like that. And then we need some little green ones, darker green ones, the pear pizzazz one down here. I think I'm going to keep it minimal there, and I think I'm going to grab one more of the soft sea foam to kind of break that up right there so it's not so much the same color. All right, there we go. Now, one more thing we need is a butterfly. And these beautiful butterfly elements are from the Celebration catalog. They come in a package. There's butterflies and flowers, and we're going to use this one right here. So I'm going to carefully poke it out. These are free. You can only get these for free when you spend $50. They're free with a $50 purchase. Now you want to get some kind of holder, some kind of tweezers or something to hold your butterfly, and we're going to dip it all in that Versamark ink. Make sure it's covered really well. Keep a hold on it. Come over here with your powder again, your white powder, and dip it in. Let's see if we get nice coverage. Yes, we do. Now you can't hold this with your finger. You've got to use something metal because this gets super hot and it will burn you. So just hold it there, and it will not take nearly as long. I'm going to switch hands. Not take nearly as long as our background did. Let's see, can you see it turning? Look how beautiful that is. There we go. Now it's not a wood ornament, it's a white painted wood ornament. It looks like it's painted, doesn't it? All right, we're going to stick this guy with a glue dot. All right, here between these two flowers like that. Oh, just beautiful. Now I thought of one more thing I could add, these faceted dots. Let's see if I can get them open. I have a brand new package. Now these are not pear pizzazz or soft sea foam. However, they are mint macaron, which is pretty much in the family, I would say. I think they go nicely. You could also use rhinestones or pearls. And there we have it. Look at that. I will love you until the day after forever. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, if you don't have a reason to use that sentiment, change it. Happy birthday. Thank you. Congratulations. Anything you want. You could change the sentiment. You could use sentiments from your other sets, or you could use something different from this set. But I love these two together, the texture that the Crackle Paint creates and the softness that these little flowers create. Now, you guys, I did this originally on a Facebook Live. There's a PDF that goes with it. If you click on the link in the description, it'll take you over to that post that has this card, or this PDF right here, that shows the card we made, the measurements, all the products, as well as, let's see, 2 other cards using the Forever Lovely. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Let me know if you have questions, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye-bye.